Dave, and I'm Elevated Daily. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and continue our review slash recap of Strange New Worlds Season 2. We're on Episode 3 now. Tomorrow. Great show. Absolutely. Like I said, previous review, I am digging the vibes on this show. Very reminiscent of the original series. I'm just digging it. We'll go ahead and get into the recap and the review, and we'll go ahead and discuss my feelings throughout, and hopefully we hear from you in the comment section, and let us know what you think. All right, please like and subscribe, and leave comments as well. All right, let's go ahead and begin. All right, so this is a very Luan heavy episode. We get to see her really starting to kind of crack under the pressure of being who she is, She's struggling with her duties. They're pretty monotonous. Spock he's raging against the machine now that he's got his loot. She's just having a rough time, Even in a sparring session when she's going with Dr. Mbenga, he's telling her, you're unfocused. You need to go ahead and speak to a doctor. She's not having it. But then, bam, we get her walking right into this problem. Dude gives her this little device, tells her to get to the bridge, and she goes to the bridge, and it's not her bridge. We are now with an alt timeline. Looks like we have alt Kirk. This is great. I really enjoy where we're going. Like I said, these episodes are very awesome. Luan Noonien Singh. Her name has a legacy of destruction and death. We get to see, Luan. It's going to be a Luan and Kirk filled episode, and that's great. I'm okay with that. We got alt Kirk, we got Luan. And they are transported to none other than, it looks like, Toronto, from what Luan says. I thought it was New York for a split second too, but then not nearly as busy once it pulled back. So kind of funny on that. We get to see Luan and Kirk. She's a little drawn to him because he doesn't know who she is, so that's a good thing. Good to see, like I said, very reminiscent of some story building that we have with Spock and Kirk and McCoy when they would get thrown back in time, and anything to do with the holodeck or anything like that with Next Generation, of course, those episodes. This is going to follow along in that spirit. So, yeah, I enjoy where it's going. This is a great episode. This episode is really going to allow her to shine. It shows Kirk's out of his element a little bit going back in the past. He's never been to Earth, doesn't even know how to use a revolving door. They obviously have a similar sense of style. They come out, very twins-like in their outfit. We see that Kurt is Kirk still. He is still, one of those strategists that he says he's looking for his partner. Hasn't found Spock yet. And it's good to see they're building that camaraderie, her and Kirk. Because again, he doesn't know who she is. And that's what a big part of her story and her character arc is that she's struggling to find out who she is because of her name. She can't let that go. You saw what happened last episode with number one and all, when she thought she's the one that betrayed her. And she's just looking for someone to connect with. And like I said, she finds Kurt, but she's not sure how to proceed because she's been isolated for so long. And then we see that bridge means the bridge. That's where the explosion takes place. So we go ahead and now know that this is the real reason they are here, is to go ahead and stop this catastrophe, or at least so we think. So go ahead and head out there, and then they're investigating, and they see some photographers, and they get a little bit of information from them, find out that this isn't the only thing that's a little wonky that has been happening as of late. And Kirk decides to go ahead and play a little GTA right there, get a little Vulcan neck pinch. And then goes ahead and, steals a car. We find out that he did some time with a Vulcan cellmate, and also knows how to make some soup in a toilet, I believe he said. It's too much. So Kirk's going, crazy. I don't understand how he knows how to drive since he has never been on planet Earth, but apparently he does, but not very well. Hence the car chase. Alright, so after Kirk's Grand Theft Auto's adventure, we get saved by, our conspiracy theorists and some social media presence. We see that she has some information, looks like on her tablet, pertaining to a Romulan ship and some visits. She has a hypothesis, she has a theory that throughout time, there's been interference from someone, because it looks like they're trying to go ahead and make the humans fall further and further behind to going into space. Sounds plausible. Our heroes don't know exactly who to go for to help in this time, and then Luan remembers our engineer Pelia, and she goes looking for her, and she finds her in the antiquities department. So it turns out she didn't really steal all that loot at the beginning. It is hers. Well, it was probably stolen before, but it is hers in the antiquities department. That's her store apparently before she became an engineer, and she helps our heroes discover how to track the cold fusion reactor that they think is going to be the next target, since things are kind of going off from the timeline. Now they're kind of figuring out what that was. So they get what they need from Pelia, and they're off, and get a little bit more of some time with Kirk and Luan, and they're developing a relationship. And we see that Luan is putting down her guard a little bit, and she goes for the gusto. She goes for the move, and reciprocated. And it's just, and what's funny is in the 80s, with that watch, if I'm right, it was a real scandal about the iridium or something like that being in the watch and actually being radioactive. So fun tidbit. We meet up with our conspiracist again, and she is not playing, even though Kirk thinks she is. She is not, and on that scale, mess around and find out. He messed around and he found out ultimately, and leading into his demise, and we lose Alt Kirk. We see that the plan has been altered, and conspiracy theorist is a Romulan, and she is not going towards the cold fusion now. She's going to the genetics lab. And on that door, on the genetics lab, we see none other than Khan, our favorite adversary. And she makes the choice to defend, because, what is she going to do? She has the choice to let it fall apart, and she can try to start a new life, because she'll be a little paradox outside of the timeline, and she could end her legacy and start new. But she knows that's not right. It's her legacy. It's who she is. It's her family. You can't fight that, and maybe he'll change. So she puts up that fight, and she gives her all. And when she finally comes out on top after the beatdown, because Romulan does have a little bit more strength than her, she finally puts a couple in the our Romulan friend, and dude, that is gnarly. That little disintegration that she does, no evidence, cannot can't change the timeline. So she's gone, and you see Luan sitting there with her grandfather, the evil Khan. She asks if he has any friends, and he's like, yeah. Points to the school picture, and we know all them as that. We know them all as that bridge crew. So yeah, we got that on there, and we know what's going to happen to them. We'll be seeing them soon. So Luan, she has fixed the timeline now. She's gone back. She walks to the bridge, and it's Captain Pike and Pelia and everybody, and she calmly is like, "All right, yeah, cool, it's all good," and walks back to her place, where we run into the time cop. It's like, "Thanks for fixing our mess," and Luan's like, "Yeah, thanks. I wasn't broken before. Thanks for damaging me even more. I have no one to talk to about this. No one to express how I'm feeling. I just got to go ahead and keep this all inside." And yeah, time cop's like, "Yeah, pretty much. Thank you. You've done a great service. We're a department that doesn't even exist yet, but because of you, we now still will." And she's devastated. You could see her just crying there, and of course, we want to see her. Does he even remember her? And so does she. So she picks up her little tablet and calls him, asks some BS about his brother, and he catches on to that, and kind of asks if she wants to catch up on a drink later. They're in town, talk about his brother some more. She's like, yeah. And then she just cracks and breaks down, and she's left right back where she started, in that circle of loneliness. And that sucks. All right, so out of this episode, I really enjoyed the episode. Great throwback type feel. This show has a great sense of how to pull back the old and familiar, yet make it seem new. And I like that. It's got that old original series vibe. Felt very much like the City on the Edge of Tomorrow, I believe it is. Or no, the City on the Edge of Forever. And it's just great. It's got that vibe to it instead of it being, like I said, McCoy, Spock, and Kirk. In this one, it is still Kirk. It's alt Kirk, but it's Kirk and Luan. And just like in the City Edge of Forever, instead of Kirk falling in love with that waitress, or I remember who it was exactly, but she was the one that needed to die in order for everything to get back on track for their timeline. And this is very similar to that. Kirk had to die. He was going to get erased anyways, but Luan saw that her legacy, Khan, is ultimately what is needed for humans to either have reached that point of ultimate destruction where we're like, we can't do this anymore, and the Vulcans come and like, you guys want a hand? And they help us out once we reach that, work capability. But I don't know. It's just madness to think like something of that devastation would need to happen to bring together all of humanity. And it really would. I mean, look at the events in human history. The worst events have brought people together and held them together through turmoil and all that. So yeah, this show, great at bringing that context of what it is to be a people, a human, and what separates us and what could obviously unite us and what goals we have. So I dig this. This show is just, it's great. We got those characters. We got the vibe. Like I said, we got Spock rebelling on his loot. We have Peli. We have all the character beats that make this show feel just like it did when I was growing up watching the original series, Next Generation. When you're looking for those episodes that are self-contained. I liked Discovery, don't get me wrong. Whole different kind of show, though. That show was very spread out. The issue started at the beginning of the series and didn't end till the end of that season. This one, each episode is self-contained for the most part, and it gives you that resolution. So there's closure in there. I like that. Call me simple, but I just like the structure of the show. I like the feel of it. It's pretty much the original series minus Kirk with Pike, and I'm okay with that because Captain Pike's kind of nailing it. So again, thanks for joining us, and hopefully you liked our review and what my thoughts were on this episode of this series. Come back and join us. Please leave likes, comments, and subscribe. All right, and again, I am Gabe, your host, and I'm Elevated Daily. Thank you, and stay safe and stay elevated.